Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coaches Show here on Country 93.1. Anybody going to Detroit this week? Thought so. My name is Matt Chapkus, joined by Steve Zerwan, and Coach, a 45-14 win in the state semifinals over New Lothrop. Congratulations. Your first year, you're going to the state championship game.
Yeah, it worked out well, didn't it?
Yeah, good, real good start. Let's start with just the brutal conditions of that game. That was cold.
It was a very cold game. There's no question about it. And, you add on top of it, they had the turf, and we really didn't know, kind of driving in, we knew it was a little bit of a whiteout. They had got some snow, and we didn't really know exactly how the turf was going to play. So they had, the cart out there trying to wipe it off a little bit. And, I think the footing held up pretty good, but, the wind was obviously a factor. And, it was just a factor. The wind was and the weather was, no question about it.
You didn't pass the ball.
That's 2 weeks in a row we haven't completed a pass, I've heard.
This time you didn't even try one.
We didn't try one, no. We thought about it right before half, and it was kind of better to take that 14-point lead in the locker room. The kids tried to talk me into it, and I had some other coaches say, don't do it. So we decided not to, and it worked out fine in our favor.
All right, let's start with the first quarter. It was a great first quarter. You guys got a big stop, and right after that, Alex struck for a 53-yard touchdown. Griffin's kick made it 7-0, just 3 minutes and 1 second into the game.
Yeah, I think it was the third play from scrimmage that we ran, and we just, I think one of the things about the game that, you're happy with is just the versatility that we have. If you watch us play throughout the year, there's some weeks that we're able to spread the ball out and do some kind of, different things. But then we also have the capacity to play with a full house backfield and two tight ends. And it was just, the perfect conditions to do something like that. I start thinking in my head when you pull up and see these conditions, what do teams do that are always in shotgun that like to throw the ball? I mean, I just think they just are out of options in a game like that. So, we were able to do that, and Alex sprung a playoff right tackle. Jaden McPherson was pulling on that, as well as Blake Sanford was kicking the end out. And then Alex used his speed and outran number 7 there at the end. So was able to get in the end zone, and that was a good start for us to put us up 7-0.
Absolutely. And then your defense struck. It was 21 seconds later, and you mentioned Amari Coleman, the star receiver for New Lothrop. They put him in the Wildcat, and things didn't work out well for him. He met a bunch of defenders, ball popped loose. And Ian Tyler picked it up and took it to the house, making it 14-0 with Griffin's kick.
Yeah, you're just, you're not trying to think for the other team, but, we score, and then we get a defensive touchdown right away. There's got to be just a certain demoralizing effect with the weather, and then, you're already down 14-0 right before the game almost starts. So that was, I just thought, looking back on the game, that was a key touchdown, and really established the fact that we were, I just didn't know how they were going to score. They did end up scoring twice, I guess, now that I think about it. But I just thought getting that initial 14-point lead for us was really important. And, Ian, we were kind of all sitting around thinking that the play was going to be blown dead or that it was going to get brought back. And we kept looking for something, and no ref made a call. So we were like, well, I guess it's going to stand.
Yeah.
So it definitely worked out well.
Well, the ball popped out pretty quick from where I was looking, so it looked like a good one to me.
And you watch on a film, it looked clean, too.
Absolutely.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then one more time before the first quarter ended, you guys go on a drive. Nick capped it off with a 4-yard touchdown run, and it was 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. Yeah,
and again, we just were able to string some plays together, and I had talked to some other coaches the week leading up to it that had played them during the season. And, they just kind of knew, what kind of the things that we do, and they thought we wouldn't have much of a problem moving the ball if we just went right at them. And I think sometimes when you get, you watch things on film, but sometimes when you get advice from other coaches and coaches that you trust, you kind of take them at their word, and we're just able to kind of pound them and go at them. And, Nick was able to capitalize for sure on that last drive.
And then go back into the second quarter. Alex continues it with a 4-yard touchdown run with 8:37 to go in the first half. That made it 28-0, and just a pretty good feeling for your team, obviously, with that score in the second quarter.
There is a feeling when you get up 28-0, you don't, you start thinking, I don't think the other team can score 4 touchdowns on us if we just do the things that we're supposed to do fundamentally correct. So, at that point, you're just trying to, basically cut time off the clock, and you kind of, at least I kind of look at the game that way. I think in my head, 28 points enough to win it some weeks. against some teams. And I just saw the way their offense was going, so I just knew we had to not turn the ball over. We just had to keep doing the same sound, fundamental things that we've been accustomed to doing all year. And we kind of figured that would be enough points for us.
And then we saw the big strike ability of them. A little while later, they ran a trick play, and Coleman ended up catching the pass and ended up running it in for a 56-yard touchdown. It was just one of those things where I think it was a triple reverse and then a pass.
Well, they ran an end around to him, and then he had flipped the ball to a kid for a reverse, and then that kid stopped, and Coleman, who actually had the ball originally, kept going up in the pass route, and then the corner that was on that side had run a post, which took that kind of him out of position. It was a very well-designed play, and I give him definitely credit for designing that play. It's not a play that we had seen on any scout films, so kind of something they'd worked on during the week. So you definitely got to give a coach credit when they design a play and it works exactly like they're supposed to. And then I think on that run, probably as much as any, you saw the ability of Coleman there when he caught the ball, was able to cut back, and you can obviously see that kid's got just a ton of ability, and I think he's going to have a tremendous future in college football. Excuse me here. But anytime that we just had the day we had defensively, and I just thought our defense gang tackled well. It's really hard for a guy to run somewhere when six guys are, really tackling him at once, which is what we had all day long. So I'm not sure that game was indicative of who he was, but I think it just speaks more to the credit of our defense and able to contain him.
And then he got in one more time before the end of the half. It was a 7-yard touchdown run with 1:50 left. They cut your lead in half. It was 28-14 as you went into the half.
Yeah, you don't like to get that lead cut in half, but we looked at that drive, and they had benefited from a penalty that they called Lamar Jordan on for they said he hit it was a Coleman again. They said he hit him late on a pass, and I don't know. It was looking back on film, it was questionable, but I guess you're going to make that call. You're going to make that call. And then they had hit some kind of fluttering pass, which landed between our safety and Nate Jones, our linebacker. And we went to the locker room thinking, they scored on a trick play, and basically they had two things go extremely well with the penalty and kind of a fluke pass they caught. So, at halftime, I think our kids were a little bit. I think we should have been a little more excited at halftime, I kind of sensed, but I just thought we played an outstanding half, and they had scored on just two kind of unexpected things. So I thought it was definitely just a well played half for us, even though we did give up those two touchdowns.